Alright, so today we're going to talk about currency conversions. In your textbook, this is going to be Chapter 2, Section I. If you haven't figured out, the textbook's laid out where your chapters are numbered and your sections are lettered. So this is the section we're looking at here in the textbook, page 64. So use my videos as well as the textbook to kind of help you through each section. So currency conversions. So the reason we have to use currency conversions is because different countries use different currencies. So in the United States, we use US dollars. Other countries are going to use different types of money. Your book does a good job of providing a lot of different examples of countries and the currency that they use. So as you go through problems, you're going to start recognizing different types of currency and how they work. Exchange rates change over time, so depending on lots of different variables as far as how well a country is doing and their economics and different things, changes how much their currency is worth. So we have to be able to convert between them for traveling and buying products from other countries. So let's start with an example. Let's say a bank exchanges £1 British pound. And all these currencies are going to have little abbreviations. So this is GBP, Great British Pound, for 1.65 Australian dollars. So off the top of my head, I know Australia uses dollars. There's also Canadian dollars, US dollars. So they're all different types of money, types of dollar. But they have different values. So if you go to this bank and you bring them a British pound, you bring them one single British pound, they will give you 1.65 Australian dollars in exchange for it. So what type of question could we be asked from here? What if we say we have 20 British pounds and we want to convert it to Australian dollars? You might be able to figure out how to do this on your own. So you might be able to do the think through it method, and that's wonderful, and I encourage you to use that. I'm going to teach you a way that will help you if we get to problems where the think through it method is failing you and you need something else to rely on. This is called the H-bar. This is a great way to change units. So here we're just changing from this unit to that, pounds to Australian dollars. So I'm going to set up an H-bar. You always start with what you're given. So I have 20 GBP. I'm going to put that at the corner of my T. What we do from here is we set up our unit rates. So if you use the think through it method, for every 1 pound you get 1.65 Australian dollars. So you might know that we need to multiply the 20 times the 1.65. For every one of these, we get 1.65 of those. In your H-bar, it's similar. So we want to multiply, so we want 1.65 AUD is equivalent to 1 GBP. This is a unit rate. So this piece right here, these two items are equivalent to each other. 1.65 Australian dollars is equivalent to 1 Great British Pound. This is a unit rate right here, unit. And the reason we set it up this way is if you multiply something on the top and divide by it on the bottom, they cancel, and the same thing works for our units. So whenever we set these up, we want the GBPs to cancel top and bottom. The only unit left is our AUDs, our Australian dollars. If they're next to each other, you multiply across. If there were a number on the bottom, you divide down. So we'd multiply, divide by 1. Dividing by 1 doesn't do anything, and so in this case, we really have to just worry about the tops. So I'm going to take my 20 times 1.65. You can divide by 1 if you want, but nothing happens. And so this bank would give us 33 AUD, Australian dollars. All right. We can also go the other direction. So what if instead of bringing Great British Pounds to this bank, we bring Australian dollars and we're trying to exchange the other direction. So we bring, let's say, 550 Australian dollars. We want to convert to Great British Pounds. well, just converting units, types of money. So we always start with our the item that was given. So we have 550 AUD. And we need our units to cancel. So this above right here was our unit rate. And we put the GBP on the bottom because we needed it to cancel with the GBP on the top. So here we have an AUD on top, so we need an AUD on the bottom to cancel. So we're going to use the same unit rate, it's just upside down, like this. So we have it set up in such a way where the AUDs cancel. We're using this unit rate. And since this item is on the bottom, we now have to divide. So you could multiply across, but 550 times 1 is just 550. Divide by the item on the bottom. So we'd get 333.33 GBPs. We'll talk about rounding in the next couple of days. Right now, don't really worry about it too much. The IB is going to have specific ways that they expect you to round, but we're not there yet. Okay, so we're talking money, so let's go to cents. Is usually a good idea. Okay, so banks don't always just have, like, we only convert between these two types of money. So you arrive at the airport in Europe, and people are coming from all over the world, bringing all types of different money. So they're going to need to have exchange rates for all sorts of different types of money at these exchange places. So let's see how that might look. So I'm going to create a little chart that's going to express how to convert between different kinds of currencies. So at this bank or exchange place, we've got US dollars, Great British pounds, and this CHF, which is actually Swiss francs. And I'm pretty sure it's francs. It's spelled, this isn't something that you necessarily have to know, but, the more you know, the more interesting you are. So there you go, Swiss francs. And I'm going to make this into a little chart so we can see how they would convert to different items. So let's see, US dollars, Great British pounds, CFH. So if you bring a US dollar to this exchange place and you want to exchange it for US dollars, it doesn't make much sense. If you give them one US dollar, they're going to give you a US dollar. If you give them one Great British pound, they're going to give you one Great British pound. If you give them one Swiss franc, they're going to give you one back. They're the same. So they're just ones across there. And I'm going to fill in some different numbers here. Okay. So what does this mean? So this means that if you bring them one US dollar, they will give you 0.64 British pounds. If you bring them one Great British pound, they will give you 1.56 US dollars. Okay, so this table represents, this is what you bring, and this is what you get. Okay. And you can really go either direction, and it should work out the same way. So let's see what we could do. So let's exchange the CHF to GBP. So what is the exchange rate if you bring the CHF and then you get GBP? So we don't actually have an amount of money that we're trying to change, just what is the exchange rate? So we would say we're trying to exchange one CHF. What does that equal in Great British pounds? An exchange rate just equates them. So we're taking information from this table and trying to create an equation. So one CHF is equivalent to, so if I bring one CHF, I get 0.7 GBP. Reading that from our table. So that is the actual exchange rate. So if a question asks for that, this is what they're looking for. We're not bringing a certain amount of money, we're just, what's the rate? So what if we want to convert 20 US dollars to our Swiss francs? So we start with 20 US dollars. We always put the number that we're starting with in the top of our little chart here. We're trying to go to this CHF. So if I bring US dollars, if I bring 1 US dollar, I can get this many francs. So they're pretty close to the same. So 0.9, you get a little bit less of these francs, but you know, pretty close. We decide on which one goes on the top and the bottom. So we say 1 US dollar is this many francs, and we need our US dollars to cancel. So we have a US dollar on top. We have to put the US dollar on the bottom. 0.910 CHF. Okay. We do this, remember, so that these cancel. And then since they're both on top, we multiply across. So I'm going to do 20 times 0.910, 18.2. So that would be, the unit left is the CHF. Now that's not the only way you can do this exchange rate. So this table is equitable as far as you could say here that 1.1 US dollars is equivalent to 1 CHF. So if you wished, or if you're the type of person like me who likes to see how many different ways you could solve type of problem and get the same answer, we could also say 20 US dollars is what we start with, and we could go, okay, so if we look at this row instead with our CHF, 1.10 US dollars, once again the US dollars have to cancel, is equivalent to 1 of our CHF. So we're looking at this row here. You could pull from the middle row, but that's kind of crazy, right? 1.56 US dollars is 1.43 francs. So those are icky numbers, but this one's got a 1 in it still. And let's say we divide instead. So what if we take our 20, we'd multiply it by 1, doesn't do anything, so divide by 1.1. There we go, we get 18.18. That's just going to be some, you know, rounding differences there. Okay, and we get the same amount of money. So there's not just one direction you can read this table. You can pick and choose kind of how that goes. Okay, the next thing is these money exchange places don't just give you money for free. So they're providing you a service. So they are saying, I'm going to exchange your money, but because I'm doing this job for you, I charge an interest rate. I charge a commission. So the bank needs to make a little bit of money off of this transaction. So we don't always just go straight across. So let's say a bank exchanges, and this is ZAR, Z-A-R. So this is actually, and once again, this is a piece of information that just kind of adds to the things you know. This is South African Rand, is what they call it. Our abbreviation is ZAR. So they charge a commission. They don't just change our money for free. And it's 1.5%. Okay. They give us an exchange rate. One of these ZARs is equal to 3.75 RUBs, which is Russian rubles. All right. So here's our exchange rate. So yeah, we're going to say we come with, if 800 ZAR okay, so here's our question. A bank exchanges ZAR for a commission of 1.5%. They have this exchange rate. 1 ZAR is 3.75 RUBs. We bring 800 ZAR. We need to first find how much commission is charged. So how much money do they make off of us? So not how much money do we get, but how much money do they make? So we have to figure out 1.5%. So the money we bring them this, they first are going to take their commission of 1.5% from us. So what is 1.5% of 800? Now this is something you've done before. So whether you remember or not, you have found percentages. Okay? So we say 800 times 1.5%. Percent to a decimal. So 1.5%, percents are out of 100. So a couple ways you can do this. 1.5 out of 100 gives me a 0.015. Back, I don't know, years and years ago, you would have learned that to change a percent to a decimal, you move your decimal place 2 times to the left. Gives you the same thing, 0.015. Okay? So we're going to multiply by that. Oops. And then I write it wrong. 0.015. Ignore my scribbles. That is incorrect. And 800 times 0.015. Multiplying by our percent as a decimal says that they're going to take $12. Not dollars. This is in our current rate of ZAR, right? So this is how much they take. So how much do they actually give us? So they take this away from us. We bring them 800 ZAR. They say, I'm going to take 12, and I'll turn the rest into Russian rubles for you. So B, how many RUB do you receive? Well, we don't get to use the 800. They take 12 from us. So we ask the question, how many ZAR are they actually exchanging? Well, we had 800 and they take 12. We are actually exchanging 788 ZAR. Because we don't get all of it. They took some from us because they're providing us with a service. So now we have 788 ZAR. We're trying to change our unit. We're trying to change into these RUBs. So I'm going to set this up in my H-bar. If you haven't seen an H-bar before, these are very, very prevalent in chemistry. So if you haven't taken chemistry yet or you're planning on taking chemistry, you'll see this again there, this H-bar idea. We need to set up our unit rate next to it such that the ZAR cancels top and bottom so we can change into our new unit of RUBs. So we can say our unit rate's here. We need the ZAR on the bottom. 1 ZAR is equivalent to 3.75 RUB. Remember, you multiply across, anything on the bottom gets divided. So 788 times 3.75 gives me 2,955. Woo! Seems like we just got richer. And our unit is whatever's left. So the ZARs cancel because you have one top, one bottom. You're left with RUB. So at the end of this process, if a bank charges 1.5% and this is the exchange rate, this is how many RUB you can expect to receive. This is a good way to check and make sure these places aren't trying to rip you off. All right, your homework assignment is listed on the chapter outline, so you should have gotten that from me either last time. And your homework is listed there. Remember to try to stay up on your homework, bring questions to class, ask me, pause the video, ask for help as you need it. I'm here to support you. The videos are just a way to help facilitate the knowledge while I'm bouncing around and teaching 2 classes at once. So appreciate your time in watching the video, and I'll see you next time.